So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I want to introduce Dr. Valentina.
At a very young age, I decided that my life's purpose was going to be looking into people's mouths and asking them questions while I was doing that. I remember being 5 years old, playing with a toy, with a doll, and having instruments, pretending that I was a dentist. And so my whole life, I grew up knowing that that was the path for me. And here's the thing. When I'm sitting in that dental chair, I'm not just looking at teeth. I know that's what it seems like from your point of view when you're laying down and you just see like the bright light in your face. But what I'm seeing is a story. I'm seeing a person, and I'm seeing that teeth do not lie to me. Every single person that walks through my door, that sits on my chair, has something going on. And when I see them multiple times in a year, I'm able to recognize what is going on in their life. When people are struggling, they usually stop taking care of their oral health. I start noticing that they're not brushing as much, that they're not flossing. Sometimes they skip their appointment. Months have gone by before we're able to see them in our chair again. And all of a sudden, we're having conversations in the chair that go beyond dental care. We're talking about family. We're talking about work. We're talking about their life expectations and goals. And for that minute that I'm in that room with them, I'm not just a dentist. I'm a friend. I'm someone who can help them see that there is more to life than what is happening in that precise instance. I want to tell you a little bit about what the science says about oral health and mental health. Did you know that 60% of people are afraid that people are going to judge them based on how their teeth look? 60%. That means that 6 out of you in that table of 10 people feel like people are going to judge you based on your teeth. And my job is not to judge you. My job is to help you build more confidence so that you can show up in a better way for your family, for your friends, and your job, so that you don't feel like you have to hide at home. But there is a relationship between oral health and mental health that we don't talk about. And it is that when your mental health is deteriorating, it manifests in the mouth. And when you're self-conscious about people judging how your teeth look, you stop showing up. You stop going to events because you don't want people to look at you. You smile and all of a sudden your hand goes up and it covers your mouth. You learn to smile in pictures like this instead of showing your teeth. Because what's the first thing we do when we take a group picture? We zoom in on our face to see how we look in the picture, right? And we think that everyone else is looking at that picture in the same way we are. But I'm here to tell you today that there is more beyond that story. And I am so glad that Kenzie's family put this together for us so that we have the opportunity to talk about these things. Because when we have conversations and we're honest about them, we find the antidote to the thing that's been hurting us inside. So let me tell you a little bit about me and how I came to be on this stage today. At the age of 17, I made the courageous decision to leave my hometown in Venezuela and move to the United States all alone to pursue my dream of becoming a dentist. For 3 years, I did everything right. I checked every box, I met every requirement, and I applied to 10 dental schools. Surely one of them had to see something in me. Out of the 10 schools, one of them had to say yes. And so for 3 years, I was hanging out with a group of people that were applying to dental school, and together we waited for December 1st to come around. We called it D-Day, Decision Day. That was the day that we found out if our dreams were coming true or not. And I remember my phone blowing up with messages from my friends, all sharing that they had gotten accepted into dental school. And I just kept waiting for that notification to show up on my phone. I refreshed my phone over and over again. And I remember thinking to myself, I just need one. I just need one yes. I just need one person to see something in me. And by the end of the day, I had heard from all 10 schools, and I had gotten 10 rejections. Not a single yes. And I went to bed that night feeling like the floor had completely disappeared beneath me. I mean, I had done everything right. I had taken the classes that I was supposed to. I had written the essay how I was supposed to, and no one said yes. But here's the interesting thing. I woke up the next morning, and I had lost my voice. I wasn't sick. I didn't have a raspy voice or a sore throat. There was just complete silence. I want you to picture like the Little Mermaid when she was trying to talk and nothing came out. That was me. There was nothing there. And at that time, I didn't know what that meant. It took me years to actually figure out that neuroscience tells us that rejection and physical pain activate the same neural pathways in our brain. So what does that mean? I'm speaking doctor language. It means that your brain cannot tell the difference between a broken bone and a broken dream. My body was protecting me because I wasn't ready to talk about the shame that I felt from having failed. But I had a decision to make. I could choose to sit in that pain and just give up, or I could reinvent myself in the process. But there was a little voice, and I think you all know who that little voice was. And it was small and stubborn and very inconveniently persistent. And it kept telling me that that is not how my story was supposed to end. And I almost didn't listen to it. And I want to be completely candid about it, because we like to tell the comeback story as if we always knew it would happen, right? As if we knew that we would get back up and everything would be fine. But in that moment, it didn't feel like it. In that moment, it felt almost ridiculous to try again. I had done everything I was supposed to do, and I still didn't make it. And sitting in that silence made me realize that I had been performing to someone else's version of ready this whole time. I had been shrinking myself to fit inside a mold instead of showing up and being unapologetically me. So I made a decision. I decided to go back to the things that brought me joy, to the things that lit me up, to the things that little girl that used to pretend to be a dentist with her dolls would be excited about. I started dancing again. I auditioned for a professional salsa team, and I made it, by the way. I traveled across the country. I performed on stages, and somewhere in that process, I found myself again. And I reapplied to dental school. In the following year, on December 1st, at 8 a.m., I got a phone call, and it was an Arizona area code. And in that moment, before I even picked up the phone, I knew that my dream had come true. And I made a choice to move across the country, and it was the best decision I've ever made, because I met my husband here. My daughter was born here. I opened 2 dental practices and built a 7-figure business here, all because I made a choice to let that rejection transform me. I didn't fight it. I listened to it. And so I read a quote by Charlotte Freeman that I want to share with you guys, because I do want you to take away something actionable today. Because I know you're sitting in that chair and you're probably thinking about that one moment in your life where you felt that rejection and you didn't know what the answer was. And the quote by Charlotte Freeman says, "I hope you're learning to look into the future instead of the past when you find yourself facing uncertainty. I hope you are understanding that who you are becoming is more important than who you have been. And I love that quote because the first question that I asked myself when I was sitting with that rejection and that silence was, who was I before this? And for me, it was easy. I was a little girl who had moved to another country with a dream, all alone, because she knew and she believed that there was something beyond her circumstances that she could make come true. Who were you before that one moment in your life that made you shut down? Before the rejection, before the world started getting loud and rewriting the story you believed about yourself? Because that's the thing, right? Everyone has an opinion on us. You go on social media and they're saying one thing, who you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing. As a business owner, I go online and I know there's metrics that I'm supposed to be meeting and quotas, and there's so much noise that you start rewriting the story you believe about yourself. If I am not doing this, then I am not good enough. If I don't get accepted into dental school, then I am not a good enough person. If I do not have X, Y, Z, then I will never get to that point. We've all believed that at some point. But it's because you're letting the outside world be way louder than it needs to be and putting a dark filter on the brightness of your life. The second question that I want you to ask yourself is, what has rejection exposed in the past? In my case, I had seen rejection as an opportunity to just shut down and look for something else. We hear it all the time. Rejection is redirection. Rejection is protection. You're supposed to close that door and walk away and find something else. I wasn't ready to walk away from my dream of becoming a dentist. I don't know if it was protecting me from something, but I do know that rejection is reinvention. Rejection is a process where you sit there and you marinate with it and you realize that there is a person who was there before the rejection. There is a person that's meant to be there afterwards. Who you decide to become is up to you. And that is question number 3. Where do I want to go? And that's a tough one to answer, right? Because sometimes we have an answer that we think is the right thing to say, but it's not really what you want internally. When I applied to dental school, my goal was to stay in Florida. I loved Florida. I loved living by the beach. But that is not where I was supposed to be. I was supposed to be here so that I could stand on this stage today and meet every single one of you and honor Kenzie's legacy. But I didn't see that back then. If you had told me 10 years ago that that was going to be my path, I probably would have just shrugged it off. I started speaking after I became a mom because I realized I didn't want my daughter growing up believing that she wasn't good enough because someone else told her no. I didn't want her to sit in that room and lose her voice because she didn't have the tools to overcome it. And I realized that that doesn't just happen at a young age. It happens at every stage of her life. Every single one of you knows what rejection feels like. I saw the hands. Maybe it was a relationship that ended after you thought things were going really well. Maybe it was the email that said, "We regret to inform you that." We've all gotten that one. Maybe it was a client who you thought was going to close the deal and help you make payroll, and all of a sudden they disappeared. I know what rejection does to you. I know how it walks up to everything you believe about yourself and makes you question every decision you've made. But I want to leave you with this. Rejection does not get to write your ending. You do. And next time the world says no, it's your turn to say, "Watch me." Thank you.